Your turn, Beta. That's not the card you're looking for.
Your Jedi mind tricks won't work here, Obi-Wan.
Oh?
No, they won't. There are more powerful forces here in Haiti. The power of voodoo. Jinn. Ha 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 ha.
Ralph.
Hello. Thank you for watching our video.
Ralph.
Today, we are going to be discussing two
Ralph.
films which are... Yes, Robo?
Still got your mask on.
Oh, I apologize. I got into character too much. Maybe it was this mask. Dark side? Let me start over, Robo.
Okay.
Thank you for telling me that. Hey, Robo, who are you today?
I'm Red 6.
Oh, yeah, I can see the resemblance. My name's Ralph. I'm here with my co-host, Robo Ralph.
Hi, everyone.
Today, we're going to be discussing two films that have some similarities to each other that you may find amusing. The first film is the 1977 film Star Wars: A New Hope. And you're probably familiar with that as it's one of the biggest films ever made. And the second film we're going to be comparing some similarities of is the 1967 film called The Comedians. And you probably are not familiar with that one because that was a box office bomb. It's set in Haiti. There in the backdrop is the turmoil of the Papa Doc regime and his paramilitary police. The name that they're called is coincidentally the same name used in the Star Wars universe for an animal. Then you have the outsider Alec Guinness comes into Haiti as an arms dealer, and what he doesn't know is the person he's negotiating an arms deal with has been himself in prison before he got there. So Alec Guinness is on thin ice when he arrives in Haiti. Those other actors, the most prominent one, that especially the one that pertains to this video, is James Earl Jones, who was the voice of Darth Vader in the first 3 Star Wars films. So you have Alec Guinness, who played Obi-Wan Kenobi, and James Earl Jones, who was the voice of Darth Vader, and they also starred in The Comedian. Okay, Robo, time for that trivia question. In which country was The Comedians filmed as a substitute for Haiti? Was it A, the Dominican Republic, B, British Honduras, which is now called Belize, C, Dahomey, which is now called Benin, D, France, or E, both A and B, or F, both C and D? And the answer is
You already told us France.
F, both C and D. Parts of the Comedians was filmed in Dahomey, and then it was also filmed in 3 parts of France, mainly the French Riviera. And another curious thing that the Comedians and Star Wars have in common is that they both have location filming in parts of Africa. In Star Wars, Tantui is filmed, parts of the Tantui set are in Tunisia, the desert of Tunisia. In The Comedians, instead of Haiti, because Haiti, this movie isn't flattering to the Duvalier regime at all, so they couldn't film this movie in Haiti, but they wanted to get as close as possible to a location atmosphere to Haiti, so they picked a Western African country called Dahomey, which is now called the Republic of Benin. That's a former French colony on the west coast of Africa. It's one of the poorest countries in the world, just like Haiti is. And the descendants of Haiti are said to have originated from this country, Dahomey. And then you have Sir Alec coming in to Haiti to do an arms deal with the regime, but he doesn't know it. But when he arrives, the chief of police there had been locked up, so he was no longer a friend of the regime. So Alec Guinness is in a tough spot. The nice thing about this film is it has a lot of prominent, which were to be prominent, soon to be prominent in the 70s and 80s, even to today, black actors in it, such as James Earl Jones. Did have a great deal of progress being made to get black actors the same kind of equity of their white counterparts. Just case in point, James Earl Jones, a few years after The Comedians was made, would be the main star in a major Hollywood production, and he would be nominated for a Best Actor Academy Award for his portrayal of professional boxer Jack Johnson from the early 1900s in the film The Great White Hope. But it would have been nice if James Earl Jones had won the Best Actor Award in 1970. It probably would have strengthened racial ties in the country. Now, James Earl Jones' big screen debut was in the 1964 Stanley Kubrick film, Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. You remember that one, Robo?
Yeah, that was a great flick.
He was also in one, James Earl Jones was, in a post-apocalyptic film. Some well-known actors and actresses like Kim Cattrall and Rae Dawn Chong called City Limits. Despite it being a well-known cast, it is one of the lowest-rated films on IMDb.com. It's in the 2s out of a 1 to 10. It was riffed on Mystery Science Theater 3000, and if you ever want to check that out, that's definitely the best way to watch it. And he was also in another World War III film called By Dawn's Early Light. It was an HBO film, good budget, and spoiler alert, he saves what's left of the planet.
Yay.
Little trivia tidbit. I watched an interview with James Earl Jones on the Dick Cavett show, and he said that he was a stutterer and he wouldn't make a good speech presenter. Then we have Roscoe Lee Brown, no relation. He has a list of credits too long to give adequate credit to. He's a very polished theatrical actor with a very distinctive voice, like James Earl Jones has a very distinctive voice that you could recognize even if they weren't on camera. If you could hear their voice, you say, oh, that's James Earl Jones. Well, I recognize Roscoe Lee Brown's voice in the film Logan's Run, where he played the robot Box, the one who would harvest the humans that were trying to escape. And they have a lot in common, at least as far as their careers go. Very distinctive voices. Both were in major science fiction films. James Earl Jones voicing Darth Vader, Roscoe Lee Brown doing the voice of Box in Logan's Run.
Peter Ustinov was in Logan's Run, too.
That's right. Logan's Run also had Peter Ustinov in it. Good call, Robo. It also had what were known as Sandmen in it. They were killer cops, so to speak. So it's a coincidence because the Comedians have Sandmen in them, although they don't call them that. They call them something different. Next in the IMDb listed credits, we have Gloria Foster. When I looked her name up, I was really surprised that she played the Oracle in the blockbuster sci-fi film The Matrix. There's another sci-fi tie-in to The Comedians.
Awesome film.
I know, right? Part of the reason why I'm enjoying doing these YouTube videos is I learned a lot of the connections that I didn't know about before. And after Gloria, other notable actors are Zakes Mokay, who's in dozens of Hollywood TV shows and movies, including many now cult, apocalyptic, and horror films like Waterworld, Dust Devil, Serpent and the Rainbow, and Body Parts. We've got Raymond St. Jacques, and he had a memorable role in yet another famous sci-fi flick. He was an outspoken blind preacher fighting an alien invasion in the 1988 John Carpenter film They Live.
Blowing my memory circuits.
Well, don't blow your memory circuits, Robo. We're just here for fun. You have Elizabeth Taylor, Dame Elizabeth Taylor. She has 2 Oscar wins and 3 nominations. And as far as she goes, she made one last public performance in 2007 before she passed. And She was with James Earl Jones, of all people.
Wow.
She performed Love Letters, the play, for an AIDS benefit at the Paramount Studios with James Earl Jones. Pretty cool, huh? Sir Alec Guinness had 1 Oscar win and 1 honorary Oscar and 4 nominations. And he was nominated for a Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Star Wars. He won for, outside of Star Wars, his most famous role in Bridge on the River Kwai. Awesome war film. James Earl Jones, I mentioned, he was nominated for The Great White Hope in leading Oscar for a leading role. He also won a honorary Oscar for a Lifetime.
Are there any Ralphs in the flicks?
Are there any Ralphs in the film, Robo? Well, there are 0 Ralphs in the Comedians. But there are 4 Ralphs listed on IMDb for the crew that made Star Wars A New Hope. And one of the Ralphs had a big influence on the Star Wars universe. His name is Ralph McQuarrie, and he was a production illustrator. He's listed in the credits as a production illustrator and planet and satellite artist, miniature and optical effects unit. Quote from the Wikipedia page about Star Wars. Quarry's pre-production paintings of certain scenes from Lucas's early screenplay drafts helped 20th Century Fox visualize the film, which positively influenced their decision to fund the project. After McQuarrie's drawings for Lucas's colleagues, Hal Barwood and Matthew Robbins, who are collaborating for a film, caught his interest, Lucas met with McQuarrie to discuss his plans for the untitled space fantasy film he wanted to make. 2 years later, after completing American Graffiti, which I also saw in the movie theaters, I was probably 10 then, Lucas approached McQuarrie and asked him if he would be interested in doing something for Star Wars. Ralph McQuarrie produced a series of artworks from simple sketches. These set a visual tone for the film and for the rest of the original trilogy. And other Ralphs that were in it, Ralph M. Leo was a location auditor, and we have 2 Ralphs that are uncredited but listed on the IMDb page. Ralph Eisen, who was a musician, he played the trumpet, and Ralph Helfer, he was an animal supervisor for Gentle Jungle Company. I believe the name of the company was Gentle Jungle. And while I was editing this video, I stumbled upon a movie I'd recorded on my DVR called The Lion from 1962. And while I was watching the credits for that, I saw the same Ralph Helfer that was in an uncredited role in Star Wars as an animal supervisor. And this movie, The Lion, he is credited as an animal trainer of the titled Lion. I think he was called King in the film. And that film starred William Holden, and it was shot on location in Africa, in Kenya, which is coincidentally a place I visited twice. Another Star Wars comedian's connection, since he was he had an uncredited role in Star Wars as an animal supervisor. He trained the MGM lion that we see at the beginning of the credits for the comedians. Leo the Lion, he wasn't called, his real name isn't Leo, and friends with William Shatner, probably because he worked on the set of Star Trek, the episode Shore Leave, that was filmed on his jungle amusement park. William Shatner had hoped to wrestle Ralph's tiger in Star Trek Shore Leave. Oh yeah, I remember the tiger. But Ralph convinced him it would not be a wise decision. Well, Robo, I saved the best for last. The other tie-in that the comedians and Star Wars, at least as far as the franchise goes, is they both have tauntauns in them.
Tauntauns, I love them.
That's right, tauntauns in Haiti.
They're so cute.
Well, they're not quite the same tauntauns. Whereas the tauntauns in Star Wars are lovable, make funny noises, cute noises, and help the rebels out on planet Hoth because they can't get their regular scooters to work in the extreme cold. These tauntauns in Haiti are the secret police. Well, they're not
Say
secret.
what?
They're the in-your-face police. They're the president's police, and they have ultimate power of life and death.
Sounds scary.
They're above the law. So
Not nice, Tauntauns.
you don't want to be friendly with these Tauntauns. And
No.
like I mentioned in Logan's Run, they have Sandmen in them. In the Comedians film, and in Haiti, the Tauntauns are short for Tauntaun Makut, which stands for a form of bagman. And bagman is someone that makes you disappear. And the Tauntauns made a lot of people disappear in Haiti. So I put together a mashup. So we're going to finish out watching that. So let's check it out. Now, I want to warn you, there is some graphic violence at the end of this. As the Tauntauns kill somebody that is tied into the Star Wars universe, actor-wise.
Oh, look, dear.
no.
Major Jones has found his friends.
Oh, good. Sea like a pond, very pleasant companions. What the hell is this? Who are these thugs?
I am Captain Concasseur, and these thugs are the President's Special Police. Tonton Makut.
Welcome to Haiti.
Brown, please come quick. He's done a terrible thing. He came yesterday to hide from Tontons. I tell him to stay here. A very sick man.
What happened tonight?
I hear car. I think Tontons come. I say, go away double quick. He say, I am sick. Too late to go anywhere.
Why did he come here? I was no great friend. Too many refugees at the embassies. The Tonton keep a close watch. Perhaps he thought an Englishman's home really is his country.
Did you report it?
Who to, ma'am?
But is there no law or order here?
Tonton make law. Tonton make order.
Tontons, I can hardly complain. They are there, they tell me. For my Tonton.
Tonton with Tonton.
Tontons, Tonton. Tontons and Tontons.
Tauntauns.
Tonton?
Tonton.
Tonton. Tontons.
Well, it is time to say goodbye.
So there you have it, fans of Star Wars. Check out the film The Comedians if you want to see those actors who played Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in another film, and a whole bunch of other tie-ins to other sci-fi films, and even some Tauntauns. And if you like
Not nice
this,
ones.
please subscribe and like. I'd appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And from me and Robo, take care.
The power of voodoo.